because like in our business is what I call our business is in the air. It can be turned off like this. Some regulation comes in or some platform just shuts down. The whole thing is done. So that's what, for me, it's very important to just put money in something tangible, something physical where I know it's there. In rough times, I can just sell it, get my money out.
Do you think enough people do that?
No.
Is that because, in particular in Dubai, you see people flexing Lambos and all this other stupid shit? And
Yeah.
It's probably most of their wealth. What would your advice be to those types of younger guys who are maybe making a bit of money, but they're not really building wealth for the future?
Man, the thing is, I think those people lack a lot of mature mentors in their life. That's what they're lacking because, how old are you?
35.
35. Okay. So we came from a time when there was no YouTube, no Instagram, no Facebook, just nothing. We had no access to millionaires. No access. We just knew, some people out in the world have a lot of money. Now you open up your phone, you're going to find hundreds of people, millionaires you can get in touch with just by a message. Back then, that wasn't the case. So I'm lucky. Well, I'm not going to say I'm lucky, but I reached out to people like, okay, so when I moved to Dubai, we rented an office, and the owner of the office is some Indian guy, right? He has about 200 apartments here. He has 40 townhomes. And, just having a conversation with him, like, what should I invest in? Should I get these special cars or special? Why? He looked at me, he was like, why do you have a car? Why do you need a car? I'm like, it will go up in value. He's like, he just laughed at me, like knowing that I'm a retard, the way I was speaking to him. And he's like, listen, this is what I have. This is when I started, and it's better to just put your money in a product where you can use it for shelter later on. No, I'm like, that makes sense. And I think with social media as well, this has really like ruined the mentalities of people about this, like, quick returns. Quick return comes in, lots of money, spend over here, spend over there, vacation car, whatever, then it's done. So we're lucky we're from a time where slow growth is much more appreciated. Because I'm going to be 40 in 3 years. And when I look at it now, I look at my portfolio of properties, I'm going to, okay, if I get to late 40s, I'm going to be thankful that in my 30s I did all this. Because when you're in your 40s and 50s, you don't care about cars. You don't give a about watches. You don't care about parties, none of that. You only care about, I have properties, my kids are good, parents are good, life is good.
What's the hardest job you've ever had?
Working on the oil rigs.
How much were you earning there? Well or not?
No, there was, well, I think working on the oil rigs, I was making about like 7,000-8,000 a month. At that time, it was like great money. But we were doing 91 hours a week, -40, -35 degrees, missing family vacations, functions, anniversaries, all that.
Because I think back to when I was 18 doing like labouring in the UK, like across the summer, I think, whilst playing rugby and doing other stuff.
Oh, you played rugby?
Yeah. And
what position?
Centre. And I was getting paid £60 a day for like slave labour. I loved it. It was actually great fun.
Yeah.
But it was the hardest physical work I've ever done for like 8 hours a day and getting covered in shit. And I look back now and I think like it was fun, but it also gave me a great understanding of the value of money, which I think if people start making money from an early age, 18, 20, 25, whatever, quite quickly, you don't quite have that understanding of how the real world works. And then I also went to become an estate agent at 21 and my basic salary was £12,000 a year plus commission. So it's like, I look back now, I'm like, fuck. It's like, but it gives me a good perspective in terms of the reality of where I've come from where I am now. Whereas I think sometimes if people haven't been through that process, their view and understanding the world is a bit warped. And I don't know if this relates to you. For me, I've got a massive fear about having to go back to like the corporate world. Yeah. So for a while, I used to have like my Trello board on my computer. I'd have a suit and tie photo to be like, if you f*** this up, that's you again.
That's you again.
So it's like, don't make this mistake. You have to like build a business, build wealth for the future, invest in assets, and like look long term. Yeah, no, man, that's true. Like, I mean, if you've been through these hard, like I've worked on the oil rigs, I've worked in so from oil rigs, I was making like 7,000-8,000 a month, and then I worked in the car parts factory where 7,000-8,000 went down to $2,500 a month because I wanted to be close to the family. Then I started doing door-to-door sales. So all these hard works, I think,
everyone has to go through. So you appreciate work. You appreciate the hard work you do. You appreciate the money you make after you work hard. But then again, once you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm never going to go back there. Then you're like, okay, you know what? I'm thankful to myself. I put myself through all this labor work, this extensive work, and now I'm in a place where I'm like, you know what? I did that, and now I'm here. Like a big example is we were, so in the beginning when I started trading, obviously lost a lot of money, this and that. And there was a time when we were living in an apartment, me and my wife my firstborn was along the way, first stages, and the rent of that apartment was $1,300. There was this 1 month we couldn't pay rent. Couldn't make it. I had like maybe $400 in my bank account. I told my wife, man, listen, rent's due in a week. Can't pay rent. Nothing. Didn't have any watch to sell. TV would sell for like $200, $300, whatever. And then this woman came to me and then she's like, listen, we can sell our wedding jewelry and pay rent. So I went out, we went from one pawn shop to another pawn shop, It was raining just to see who will give us the best rate for this jewelry. I think the best rate we got was for like $1,200, sold the whole jewelry, $1,200, paid the rent. And I promised myself that I'm never coming back to this financial state again. And from that point, the momentum never stopped.
Do you think that was one of the things that was a catalyst for you that almost gave you so much pain and embarrassment? You're like, this has to change.
Yeah, bro. Like I was so embarrassed not to even ask for money because I just needed $600-700 extra. I could have asked my father, my brother, my friends, whatever. But that ego in me, that manly ego we all have, it never allowed me to reach out for help. I should have, but then if I would have asked for help, then that would have instilled this thought that, okay, whenever you're in trouble, ask for help. But if you don't ask for help, you find a way. And that's where a warrior comes out. That, okay, you know what? We'll make it work. We'll figure this out. Because, at the end of the day, it's not about the embarrassment for you. It's the embarrassment your spouse has to face. And then that it trickles down. So you have to safeguard that. It's very, very important.
With you in the future, what's your plan in terms of safeguarding that? Just diversification of assets in different businesses?
Yeah, diversification, building different things. Like right now, okay, so we started trading, then we built a brokerage. We launched another product with that. We started a prop firm with that. So when you have a core business, you have to see that, okay, which other arms I can attach to this. So it creates an ecosystem. Right? Because of course you can have one thing that's going to make you money and then you're like, okay, what can I add something to it so it becomes its own entity, but it's relatable.